I love this combination. I eat it all the time, so I wanted to switch it up a little bit to make it just a little more fun. So basically, what I'm going to prepare is kale, like a kale wrap with onions, peppers, mushrooms, my favorite combination. So I wanted to have an alkaline dinner, and I only had limited ingredients once again. So I just threw these things together and didn't even have any clue this was gonna be delicious. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. So we back with our ingredients to our delicious meal. Basically, I have peppers, green and red. I love red peppers. I love green peppers. They're very alkalinity. If the rawer, the better. But with this one, I'm going to saute them lightly in some walnut oil. So I'm gonna have the peppers, the mushrooms, some kale, some spring onions, some regular onions, and tomato. Then I'm gonna make a sauce with some sesame oil. I have sesame seeds and I have thyme. I have coriander, I have oregano, and I have rosemary, and those are my favorite little combinations to throw in there. So basically I'm gonna take these over to the stove and get them all sauteed up and then bring them back over, and we're gonna have our kale wraps. So basically I am going to prepare our vegetables to saute for our wraps. I kind of came up with this idea because I wanted a tortilla and I didn't have flour, and I didn't have my spelt flour, and I was upset, but I had plenty of kale. So with the kale, I made a wrap. So basically what I'm gonna do is just lightly dice my vegetables. Now with the mushrooms, I just diced them pretty medium size. You know, mushrooms, when you saute them, they reduce down, so you gotta make sure that you cut your mushrooms to your desired size, so when you cook them down, you don't lose them. If you overcook them, they reduce to almost nothing. Then we got some onion. What I'll do, getting away from me, Mater. Little tomato is, and then you can just set these to the side, and then you can cut your spring onion up. You can really put just about any vegetable you like in there. You know, you don't have to do this exact recipe. And I realized when I'm making my best dishes that I just, you know, have whatever I have. I could follow a recipe, but I can have whatever I have and make something delectable on accident. Who knew? So, pre-prepping our vegetables, I'm gonna take them over to the stove, saute them up. I'll be right back. So now we're gonna go ahead and saute our vegetables. I start off with a little bit of walnut oil. I love walnut oil that much. I'm gonna go ahead and drop some bay leaves in there. I know it seems a little strange, but it's good. Woo! Woo, 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 woo. Those vegetables are ready. I have my pan up really hot. I want to throw my peppers and onions in first because they take the longest to cook. Sometimes if your pan is too hot, that bay leaf will burn, but it's okay. And while that's sauteing, I'm gonna throw some rosemary in there. a little dill, oregano. Usually I put this at the very end, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in now because I like for my mushrooms to take on the flavors of my seasoning. So at this point, just sauteing it up, getting those peppers a little softer. Gonna throw those mushrooms in there because I don't want my mushrooms to reduce down too much. Like, I like to actually taste my mushrooms, so I just throw just enough in there. Pinch of Himalayan sea salt. And when you put salt on your vegetables, it starts to make the water come out of the vegetables, so it cooks a little different. So just keep that in mind whenever you're seasoning your food. Okay, so at this point, I'm very happy with how the onions look. I want to throw a little sesame oil in here, just a little, and a little date syrup. And it's going to be like a teriyaki. Now I get flavors of the teriyaki without having the soy. Nice. I want to take it off the heat because I don't want it to continue to cook my mushrooms down. I kind of want them at this consistency. I'm going to try one. Here we go. That's so good. Needs just a little salt. And that's our sauteed vegetables. Now you could cook this a little bit more. You can add ground walnuts. You can add, anything that you possibly might want. Because this is a really good quick meal. Also, when it comes to the kale, I kind of blanch them in warm water. Blanching means you boil the water and then you take your vegetable, you put them in the water for 1 or 2 minutes, take them out and give them an ice bath. That way it keeps the integrity of the vegetable and the color without overcooking it. Just to have that home cooked meal that your grandma might have made when you were a kid, kind of give that love and inspiration back to the meal. So therefore, it doesn't seem like you're just eating healthy. It seems like you're eating good. So this is our sauteed vegetables. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna assemble our food. So now we're gonna assemble our kale wraps for our dinner. I am very, very hungry, actually. So basically, what we want to do is take our kale. You see this big vein right here? See this big vein? This hinders in our wrapping process. So what we're going to do is we're going to devein the kale. To devein, all you have to do is take your knife and run it down the vein. Don't go too deep to where you're cutting, the actual leaf apart like I just did. But you just want to get that vein out of there so it can be flexible enough to roll. That's it. I'm gonna take our mixture and I'm gonna put some in there. I'm so hungry. She hungry. So I throw the mixture in there like so. Oh my goodness, I'm making a mess. I want to add a couple slices of my tomatoes. And then I want to finish it off with a little squeeze of lime. Well, actually, I'll leave it on the side and let you decide if you want to squeeze it on there, but I love it. So I am going to roll them like so. Yes. And that was perfect. And you roll them up. And then you have your kale wraps. So what I'll do is I'll cut it. I'll throw our lime on there, which is so delectable. I love limes. Key limes are the bestest. And there we go. So we got kale wraps with a little key lime on the side. It's a perfect lunch or dinner. Doesn't matter. If you want to make it into a dinner, you want it to be a little heavier, all you got to do is add some quinoa on the side. We have kamut. We have other different grains that you can add to the side, and also chickpea noodles are very good. So you could saute this up, make you some quinoa, and enjoy.